for joining me for this episode of You First. That's right. It's all about you, and you. This is your space. This is our time together for you to talk about and for us to get into what it looks like to make yourself a priority. This is a place that we talk about personal development, mental well-being, and empowerment. And I definitely have a powerhouse with me today. This is actually a part two. So if you missed part one, make sure you go back and check part one. I have the privilege of having with me Deneen Humphrey. This woman she is a leader. She is a woman of God, a woman of faith. She is an author. She is a speaker. She has an extensive resume. And what I love about this time, we've been able to peel back some layers when we think about people of faith and what that looks like when you talk about making yourself a priority. And even in this episode, I need you to just lean in because we're going to share more and talk more about what it looks like when someone even close to you has transitioned, has passed on, and what that looks like for the new normal of you making yourself a priority and things you can do that can help you as you can prepare for what is to come for you. So be sure to tune in, go ahead and look, grab someone, share this information, and join the You First community. But I'm excited. So just check out as we continue this conversation with Deneen Humphrey. First, I am Shawanna Kennedy, joined with the lovely Deneen Humphrey. That this sister has been, look, Reverend, Doctor, all of the things. So we give honor where honor is due. And I am hippopotamus happy and grateful to God that you were able to pause for the cause to have this You First conversation with me. But we know it's definitely for the masses. And God has truly poured his blessings, his gifts, his anointing on this young lady. But we have to talk about when you think about putting yourself first, making you first. And because we talked about confidence, we talked about when you are a people pleaser. And then in some cases, when you have to be there, when you think about your parents and even your siblings and what that looked like when we're pulled on for the other people in our lives. I have to, because I know that you can definitely help someone, help us to understand what that looks like when you think about putting yourself first, even in loss. When we think about loss and coping with that and then finding a new normal. What, if you don't mind, if you could just talk to us a little bit about that when you think about you first and loss and grief.
Back in 2015, April 2015 to November 2016, we lost 14 family members in 18 months. At the time, I had just been ordained pastor, executive pastor of Redemption Church, Atlanta. And although I was constantly in a family crisis, I was obligated to the people that I was serving, and then equally obligated to help navigate my family through these losses. In those losses were very close relatives, some distant, but very close. My cousin Julia, who was a pastor, my Aunt Fadel, my grandmother that I took care of, my grandfather that I took care of, and even my mother. And it wasn't until many years later, that I stopped and took a deep breath. And let me say this. I found myself during that time, I remember now looking back, that I was hitting a brick wall and I kept saying, I have nothing else to give. But it was as if no one heard me because I kept giving. I was giving because I was obligated to give. We fast forward 18 months, and then in April 2018, 18 months after my mother passed, my father passed. And that was another devastating loss. I'm still busy. I'm still out of wind, but I'm still busy. And all of the things that I did not get to say still lived inside of me. There were some things that still needed to be reconciled. There were some things that still needed to be said. There was some appreciation of my platform that I needed to make clear. And all of that lived inside of me. And what doesn't come out that lives on the inside will start to eat you up on the inside, right? And over the years, I found that the things that I saying yes when I really in my mind wanted to say no, moving forward when I knew I should have been still, moving and not resting, feeling the abuse and the abandonment, feeling the depression and the oppression and gasping for air and feeling the grief, but not knowing how to grieve because I didn't know what grief looked like, because I didn't know what it was, because I didn't do it. I did go through grief share that really didn't help me, because going through grief share, I was still moving fast and I still didn't face what was an inevitable reality, right?
Yeah.
And we found ourselves here in 2023. Let me say this. Let me back up to COVID. I think I'm probably one of the only people in the world that thanked God for COVID. Because COVID gave me permission to be still when nobody else did. COVID allowed me to sit down with no place to go.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't go to work outside. I worked from home. Couldn't go to church. And I was so glad that I couldn't go to church, because I didn't want to go and I couldn't say I don't want to go. And so I just feel like God gave me an opportunity to not have to go. He did that for me because I'm his girl, right? And in 2023, I found myself stuck with the toxicity of all of these unhealed and negative emotions and behavior patterns and habits. And I found myself diagnosed with breast cancer. Mm-hmm. And I will say this: the breast cancer was not a part of my genetic makeup. That was not in my DNA. My mother, my grandmother, none of my aunts, cousins, great-grandmother, no of the women in my family had ever had breast cancer, any cancer. My breast cancer was a result of the lack of knowing how to put me first. It was a result of life. It was the result of living all of my life overwhelmed, all of my life trying to come up from the rear, feeling like I'm coming up from the rear. Mm-hmm. All of my life of feeling like I was insignificant and didn't matter. Although I could preach a good word, sing a good song, I still felt like the person, didn't matter. Not knowing who I was supposed to be. I would tell people that I lived my life, and I'm dating myself again, in that gerbil wheel. Mm-hmm. There's a wheel with the gerbil, and it goes around and around and around and around and around. And that gerbil, that hamster is moving and not going anywhere. And I was moving fast, but I was going nowhere. And I was overwhelmed, and life was bottlenecking me. Life began to add pressure. Mm-hmm. And I said in an earlier episode that the body keeps score. The body doesn't start keeping score as an adult. the body starts keeping score as a child. And I will say that the enemy designs it to be that way because Satan doesn't wait for you to get older and step into your purpose before he starts to try to sabotage your life. The enemy starts to sabotage your life as a child because he can identify the greatness that God has placed inside of you. And he never wants you to identify that. And he never wants you to be able to step into purpose. He never wants you to be able to step into wholeness. He never wants you to be able to step into the liberty that Christ has for you. He never wants you to be able to step into the freedom of life. He never wants you to be able to take a deep breath and relax your shoulders and live outside of tension. He does not want that for you. The thing that the devil wants for you is the only thing he can want is to steal life, kill life, and to destroy your purpose, destroy your destiny, destroy your identity, destroy your purpose, kill your voice. And so he starts doing that at a young age. Listen to me. The devil appreciates when we allow those negative behaviors, that negative self-talk to be the thing that we rehearse and live out.
It gives him access.
It gives him access and it gives him power.
Yeah. That's what fuels him.
That is what fuels him. And how do we know? The Bible says, agree with your adversary, right? Quickly. How do we know that we are in agreement with him? Our life patterns, our patterns of self-sabotage.
Yeah.
That's the enemy. That's not God. Even when I say, I am just so fat, I can't fit into nothing. That's a negative self-talk, and it sabotages the beautiful that you are. When I say I am robbing Peter to pay Paul, I am agreeing with the devil because God never said that you had to rob Peter to pay Paul. The Bible says that God watches over his word to perform it, but I want to hip you on to this, that the devil watches over your words to perform them.
Yeah.
If you continue to say, I'm broke as a joke, my change is strange, my money is funny, we say, oh, I can't stand this person. I can't stand when that happens. Oh, I hate this job. I hate these kids. Oh, my husband, get on my nerves.
Because when I think right there, I can insert, when I think about that, one, if I say, especially if it's against myself or I don't like something, I am quickly to right behind it. If I allow it to come across my lips,
get into that. Yes, ma'am.
Quickly take it back.
Yes.
We think about that access the same way. I'm a believer when we say, okay, you release it into the atmosphere, into the universe, because so the guy could begin to work. That's the same way with what you're saying. Some of the things that we're saying, we're giving him place to say, oh, they don't believe. Wonderful. Let's go, guys. Let's get it.
Yes.
It works the same way. We have it's the what? Power, life and death in our tongue and the things that we say. And so
that's right.
We're thinking about the things that we say during the good as well as the bad. It actually, because to everything there is a season, and that's the high and the low. That's in life and in death. And when we think about that, yes, we are supposed to have those seasons of mourning because it needs its time, it needs its process. And so when I'm thinking about loss, because it's only been a couple years since my dad passed, and so I know what that feels like. I know when birthdays, I know when special things are. I know even if with my birthday this approaching, I know that the call that I will get, I'm not going to get that call.
That's right.
So it's like navigating and coping through things like that.
Yes, and I do want to say to it, because I went out, I'm a preacher, so you go.
I know. And so I told y'all, if y'all people of faith, this is the episode for you, because you already know, you can tell that this is a preacher. This is a preacher in the space today, and God has her filled with so much. So make sure you are following. Look, Pastor, Doctor, this be on all social media platforms.
Yes,
following her on all social media platforms. But I do when I think of it, and then it's been a minute because, of course, like you said, being busy. And not that I don't, because I think about death, right? Because I'm one of the people that are a parent to make sure my kids already know. We do have that conversation because I don't want anything to take them by surprise. So they already know certain things. They already know. It's like I need you to know. And but when it happens and you're dealing with it and you're moving through it, you're navigating through this unfamiliar, especially the closer the person is to you. Talk about that when it happens, when it's
Yeah.
somebody like really right up close to you, and God chooses to look for his
Wow.
will to be done. Yeah, he
Yeah.
allows.
Yeah. And so after my sickness, at the same time, my brother, my only sibling, was sick. And so I spent a year helping, just assisting. He has a wonderful wife that really 10 toes down took care of that joker. I was able to assist her in helping to take care of him. But unfortunately, in October of 2023, not long after I had my surgery, he passed away. And my somber reality is that my family of origin no longer exists. I have my two daughters and my son-in-law and my granddaughter, but that doesn't replace my mother, my father, or my brother. Because the truth be told, I had all of them a lot longer than I had these kids. And when I think about recently my brother's birthday, it was a very devastating day for me, because it was his first birthday without him. And we're always going to experience a first, right? And it was my first birthday without him. We were really, really close because it was just us. I'm 7 years older than him, but we were really, really close. And I remember waking up that day and I could not breathe. I was walking my little puppy. And as I'm walking, I'm just crying, and people outside looking at me, wondering is that lady all right? They don't want to ask because people don't want to get in your business now because, folks is crazy. They don't want to get in your business, but they was looking like, gosh, I wonder if she okay? And it didn't dawn on me that I wasn't as okay as I thought I was, because there are some days when I think I'm really good. And then there are other days like his birthday where it's like, what am I supposed to do with today? We've always celebrated birthdays together. This will be my first birthday coming up next month without him, right? One of the things that my mother used to do every year for our birthday, she would call us and tell us our birth story.
Mm.
I heard that story, Shawanna, 51 times? Because every year she told us what happened when she realized she was in labor, what happened on her way to the hospital. My mother was such a diva that she talked about how she wasn't going to the hospital until her face was made up and her hair was done. She had to have the right outfit, all of that. And then she go on to tell us how horrible we were for putting her through all of this. And, she gives us this whole timeline. And you don't realize, even after hearing it 51 times, you want to hear it 52 times.
Yes.
You don't realize how much you miss hearing it when you don't get to hear it anymore. And this year, facing the reality of my family of origin, they're together. I know they are together. One thing I know is that my family is in heaven. I know that without a doubt. I know that my parents welcomed their baby boy. Now I'm sure my mother probably had some questions like, "What the you doing here?" You have to know my mama to know. I'm sure she said that, but I know my father was so excited that
I could actually see Pop Humphrey for anybody you know.
okay.
Pop Humphrey. I mean, I still see him. And I could see him. I could see him. You know, like you said, wondering. Okay, but since you're here,
But since you're here, let's
since
go.
you're here. But since you're
In
here,
that slow voice, here come Marlon. There go my boy. I know he was,
yeah, yeah,
and I know that he's safe because he's with his mama and his daddy.
yeah,
But I feel alone,
yeah,
lonesome. And so I had to figure, so you have to repurpose now. I have to redefine my purpose. I have to redefine my next. I have to redefine who I am based upon now the reality in which I live. And so, of course, I do what I know. I'm back in school. I think the best way to honor those who have passed that we love is to live your own life to the fullness, live it out loud, live it without apologies. Don't let up off the gas.
yeah,
Don't take any breaks.
yeah,
Don't allow anyone to dictate and write your story. You owe it to those that you love to write your own story. Excuse me, Shawanna. And that made me reevaluating what I thought was good. And like I said, repurposing and repackaging from here.
yeah,
Acknowledge this is where I am. I accept God's will. It don't mean I like it, but I accept God's will. And because I really believe that God doesn't make mistakes, He left me here for a reason. And so I owe it to God. I owe it to me. And I owe it to them who are a part of my great cloud of witnesses
yeah.
to be the best version of myself that I can be. And that means, sis, I got to pull it up from the mud. I got to pull it up from the mud. I am an avid plant mother, right? I'm a plant mom.
Okay.
And I notice that when I'm taking good care of my plants,
Yeah, it's the energy.
there will be sprouts coming up, right? And although it doesn't look good, and the soil doesn't look good, the root is still good.
Yes.
And it's the root that's good, that's going to produce life, right? And so I recognize that the new life is coming up out the dirt. It's coming. It may take a minute, and it may, if I could use my sanctified imagination, I could see sometimes these flowers trying to navigate through the dirt, and it's having a hard time trying to break through the soil, trying to get to the top. But if you just keep moving, it doesn't matter how heavy the dirt is. It doesn't matter how dark the soil is. If you just keep moving and don't give up, if you just keep navigating through, if you just keep spending time in prayer, you keep spending time in worship, if you keep making yourself a priority, just keep scrubbing, you are going to break through the darkness. You're going to break through the dirt. You're going to break through the soil. Your breakthrough breakthrough is coming, and everything that is in the root of who you are is about to be manifested in the magnificence of you. God is about to bless even your grief. God can bless you in grieving, and your breakthrough, your come through, your bust out, your next out is going to be so magnificent that those around you are going to be able to only say, this is the Lord's doing, and it is marvelous in our eyes. You are a marvelous plant that God has planted in the soil of greatness, and your full greatness has yet to be realized. Keep moving, sister. Keep moving, brother. Keep moving, baby. Keep moving, daughter. Keep moving, son, because your best days are still yet ahead. The sun is shining on you, and you are a beautiful rose about to be displayed. Afford not to put you first, because there is a beauty that God has that is you that he wants to put on display.
This has been a full conversation.
Yes.
God he's amazing. When I say that God is good, God is awesome, I don't use that lightly, because I mean it with every fiber of my being when I say those things. And it's not a cliche for me. That's not a passing thought.
That's it. That's it. That's it.
I tell people, without him, I would fail. I already know that I would be nothing. And I am so privileged to know you, to have had the privilege to even know and to fellowship and to worship with your family, and to know what that looked like and that feels. So when you talk about the love and all of that, to have felt that in some parts in my life or with my family, I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the relationship. I'm grateful that we are on the same side. Like, look, we on the battlefield. We're on the same battlefield. And I appreciate you for sharing. And I even want to extend to you right now the opportunity to know that we're gonna have to make sure that we get you back, because this is a conversation that people need to hear, and that it's okay for you to make yourself a priority. God, it's not a sin. Of course, there's things that we could do that we'll know that you already know. If you're looking at this, you're an adult. You already know when we're doing too much. So we don't even have to go there. But it is needed to know that we're okay. And to everything, there is a season. And it's all we're going to experience some cloudy days. That's when we know that we can feel his light shining on our face. Yes. And I appreciate you for sharing your experience, sharing part of your life with us. I want to know, if you had to put one word, when you think about you first, if you had to find one word. Now, I know you're going to say Jesus, but outside of Jesus, to help center you when you're like, I don't know, and I know I need to bring myself right back. What is one word for you?
Reset. I'm purposed to put my feet on the ground, take a deep breath, reset, and make those moments all about me. I do that. And I don't care what else is going on. I recenter, reset, I refocus. And that gives me the strength to be a finisher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. And we have to be okay to hit the reset. Like right now, God is wise enough to allow the seasons and allow quarters and, in the calendar. It's like, where are you? What season are you in? Because it could be summer here, but in your life, you could feel winter. You could actually feel spring. It's like remembering. I often say, because I'm that bold. When you say, people oftentimes say, I missed my season. I believe if we're living how God has designed and purpose, to me, every season can be your season.
That's right.
Will that season always feel like that you're growing? Maybe not. But I do believe that every season can be your season, because he makes all things work for the good of those who are called according to his purpose. And that's why we have to have the personal relationship, not just the religion. So I am asking you to make sure that you just really, when you're going through and doing all of your self work, make sure that you tune in and tap into you, because we're different people at different stages and ages. And just know where you are at this stage, this age, this season of your life. I appreciate you for being a guest,
Thank you for
welcome, a
having me.
welcome guest here on the You First platform, because so many people, we do know when they hear that, because a lot of people kind of leaned in when you mentioned COVID. And I say for me, because of experiencing blood clots more than once and face up in the hospital, it wasn't about my kids, it wasn't about my husband. That was God talking to me, like you said, and to sit down somewhere.
Now somewhere.
Yeah, and not that I wasn't focused and loving on him, but he needed me to go a little bit deeper and do a little bit more self work for myself, because like you said, it is a part of my purpose, it's a part of the plan he has for me. Because when you mention a cloud of witnesses, I love that. I heard everything that you said. And so look, that y'all think it was for y'all, but she was actually, a lot of that was even for me. So guys, we want to thank you for joining us, but we're going to have her back, because maybe we need to make her at least maybe quarterly or something.
Yay.
I'm serious, because everybody needs to understand and to have that no matter who you believe in. It would be nice if you believe like me, but hey, I am not a judge nor jury.
Absolutely.
Jury.
It's okay.
It is okay. It's just whatever you believe in, I would hope that it allows you to understand how important you are and the things that you have to offer to this world, to this side of heaven. But I want to thank you again. I appreciate you guys for doing this. You always stay tuned, follow me, look for you. So make sure you connect with me and join our community over, whether it's on social media and or even on YouTube. So I appreciate you guys. Me and myself and Deneen Humphrey want to thank you for joining us for this episode of what?
Yes.
You First. This episode is brought to you by Kennedy Media and Entertainment, your premier video productions and digital visibility partner. Working with business owners just like you to be seen, heard, and paid by elevating your brand with high-impact video content, online visibility strategies, and expert social media management. Ready to stand out in your industry, on and off camera? Contact Kennedy Media today, and let's turn your message into a movement, because visibility isn't optional, it's essential. Contact KennedyMediaLLC.com, KennedyMediaLLC.com, and let's boost your brand's visibility. It's time for you to be seen, heard, and known for your expertise. Contact us today.